celebrity crushes were always people like Robert Downey Jr., Harrison Ford, Jeff Goldblum, kind of like older, sarcastic, funny guys. Sari didn't want to be with those guys. Sari wanted to be those guys. And Sari said, well, you know, Dad, you've always wanted a boy. Hey.
Welcome to the Dad Manual Podcast. I'm Tony Cooper, and I am here with seriously one of my favorite dads in the world. Danny, will you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Danny Cooper, and I am a great dad, and I've got some wisdom to share.
So Danny is my brother. And so, yeah, I don't know how the fuck you got all the hair. What's up with that? Very, very unfair in the world, but you look amazing.
I've seen your back, so, you know.
I was thinking about this, that you are actually the first dad that I really, in my awareness, like other than our dad, you had your child about 6 years before I did. So I had a lot of years just to watch you be a dad. I learned a lot about being a dad from you. And so I'm really interested in where we're going to go today. So first thing is, tell me about your kid.
Tell you about my kid. My kid, his name is Sari. Sari's 29. Well, Sari was born Sari, born female, and transitioned to a male about 3 years ago, and seems to be very happy now. Seems to be more in his own skin and feels like that's who he was meant to be.
Yeah.
So Sari was born Denver, Colorado, my wife Emily and I, and within 3 months after Sari was born, Emily was diagnosed with breast cancer. Felt a lump while taking a shower, and we were like, it's nothing, clogged milk duct or something. But went in and she had early stages of cancer, because when she got pregnant, everybody has cancer in their bodies, just mutated cells. But when she got pregnant, the surge of estrogen fed those tumors and they grew. And because of that, she developed breast cancer. And she went through it together, chemotherapy.
Sari was 3 months old, right?
Sari was 3 months old, yeah. So brand new baby, which we were obviously ecstatic about. And then this hits. And you're like, wait, what? So she started chemotherapy and radiation in Denver. Then we moved back to Chicago and underwent pretty aggressive chemotherapy there. And she was recovering and doing pretty well. And then we moved out like 2 years later to Los Angeles and was good. She was in remission, and then it came back pretty strong. So went into UCLA Medical Center and had a stem cell transplant where they harvest your stem cells to help with recovery. And then they put you in the hospital and pump you with so much chemo that just enough to kill you, but they back it off a bit. So it's to try to kill everything in her, because it was really aggressive. Kill all the cancer in her. It was pretty successful. I mean, she was in there for 6 to 7 weeks. So it was really rough and difficult. And at the time, I've got a 2-year-old at home that I'm dealing with myself, but I'm sure our mom came to help, and Emily's mom to help as well, our parents. But yeah, it was just a really rough time, and she got out and she was good for about a few years, and it kept coming back, but they didn't have to do as aggressive treatments. It was just keeping it as trying to be like a chronic illness. So she would have injections, or she would have, chemo every once in a while, but it was not the kind that would wipe you out. But then a few years later, it got really aggressive and started getting into her liver, her brain, her lungs, and we kept attacking those as it came. And then eventually it just got too much, and there was more cancer in her liver than healthy tissue. So eventually that's what killed her. That's what took her in when Sari was 10.
Which is, look, that's all, just such a huge deal. And, Sari just, I think about it like Sari just never had a healthy mom.
Mm-hmm.
and and go in. Sometimes it was fine. Emily was fine, or at least she presented fine for a while.
Mhm.
And then sometimes she, like you said, when the stem cell treatment, I mean, that was really touch and go. And I just curious, like, what do you think all the impact of that was on Sari?
I mean, Sari wasn't aware of it that much because that's who her mom was. It obviously Sari saw his friends' moms, healthy, but Emily was interacting with them and, like you
Mhm.
said, presented really well and was healthy for a while, or at least keeping the cancer at bay.
Right.
So for a while, Sari had a normal mother who was coaching Sari's soccer teams and doing the school stuff and coming into class and reading to them. And so for a while it was good. And then there was when Emily started getting really sick and it was really obvious because the early, really aggressive stuff, Sari was like 2 to 3.
Right. Right.
So had vague memories of it, but not really. But
Yeah.
when Sari got like 8, 9, 10, that's when Emily started getting sicker and weaker. So I'm imagining, yeah, I mean, that would have been tough. So that made me as a father have to step up and fill in all that. I mean, I was working and traveling a lot,
Right.
but tried to be home a lot for Sari as much as I could and try to be that strong presence since Sari's mom was, losing strength
Right.
and still had that brightness and loving way about her, but and always had time and energy for Sari. For Sari, yeah, it had to be tough seeing his mom, start to fade.
I was thinking back to like before Sarah was born, when Emily was pregnant and you were thinking about becoming a dad. And I'm just curious, what shaped your ideas about fatherhood? Like as you were about to become a dad, how did you see that? What were your thoughts about fatherhood?
I mean, you know me, I don't prep very well. Kind of let things happen
Yeah.
as it happens. So I don't know. I mean, we're thinking back 30 years what my thoughts were, but I know I was excited. I was excited to be a dad. I was excited to, I don't know, I guess my thoughts were, is it going to be a boy or a girl? Because we didn't know before we told them not to tell us. And I
Right.
was excited with either. It would have been fine. And when Sarah was born a girl, I was actually really excited. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. I thought in the
Uh-huh.
back of my mind I wanted a boy, but when
Uh-huh.
it was a girl, I was like, this is great. This
Yeah.
is really cool. I get to be a girl dad. And my thoughts were, I was excited. I was excited to have a family with my wife. I guess that, little community that we had. And then, obviously the, greater family with you and our other brother, Evan, and our parents and her family. So just like creating a bigger family and the first grandkid on both sides. So that was exciting for everybody. And for me, I was excited about it. I'm not sure what parts I was excited about, but just that, just that feeling of family, I think.
Yeah, like as a like the meaning, I think about it in terms of like what did it mean to you to become a dad? And so that's like what I hear you say is like it's a broader sense of self. There's like a group, there's a community around it. That interestingly, I never thought about it like that, but like when a child is born, it does create a certain there's like an epicenter, especially when the first child in the family
Right.
for all of us. And so, yeah, what was that like in the first few months before Emily got sick? Like, what was it like for you guys starting to build your family?
I remember it being exhausting.
Hmm.
Just you just get in that zone where they're sleeping for 3 4 hours at a time, so you're just on constant duty. And she was breastfeeding, so she would pump and I would wake up in the middle of the night, feed the baby, and go back to sleep, and you're just in this sleepless zone. But it was great. I still have images of waking up in the middle of the night and Sari crying and me feeding Sari, like looking at the moonlight over the mountain right behind us in Colorado that we lived in. So I mean, which was and just thinking like, oh, this is kind of awesome. I'm awake in the middle of the night. It's
Uh-huh.
3 a.m., but this is pretty great.
And there's
And
this like little thing, this
I have
little child.
living being here that we created
Yeah.
that I am now nurturing. I mean, with
Hmm.
my wife's breast milk in a bottle. I guess other thoughts, to go back to your previous question, is like, what's this child going to look like? Is going to look like me? Is it going to look like a combination of us? That's an exciting thought. And Sarah came out with a big head of hair,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
this, not like that.
No,
Um, yeah, yeah, like that. Um,
I wasn't able to find that in your Apple Music library. Search on Apple Music or ask for it on a different app.
and
yeah.
Sari's name sounds remarkably like Siri, and this happens
That's
all
right.
the time. And always, whenever I say the name, my computer talks to me. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, or it says
That's so
some
funny.
random fact. So something to think about when you're naming your child, although that
Right.
didn't
Yeah.
exist at the time, but
That's right. You wouldn't have known.
you never know. You never know.
I know. Could have been Alexa. Yeah.
Yeah, could have been. Oh my God, Amazon's Alexa is an Echo, and that's my dog over there.
That's right. That's right.
Also
You're
named
very
before.
tapped in.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
very tech
okay.
savvy apparently in
Yeah.
naming.
Yeah. Very, very ahead of the curve.
But yeah, is it going to look like me? And also, probably these selfish thoughts of like, oh wow, I wonder if it's going to have like my whatever ability, my talents for like athletics or music, or am I going to be able to impart these interests to this child too? Obviously, kids have their own brains and they glom on what they glom onto, and they glom. They're passionate about what they are passionate about. You can kind of influence it, but they'll do their own thing. And sometimes if you're into something, you're like, I'm not going to do that.
Right.
That's not for me.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, those
Because
those were
you're
probably
into it. Yeah.
thoughts.
So that's one of the things I'm interested in hearing about too is that what you were just mentioning, this idea of nature versus nurture. Like I want my kid to be like me or not like me or whatever, but they wind up being a lot like them. So, what are your thoughts in terms of that nature, like who they are already, and then nurture your ability to impact that?
Kids are born, I think, with their own personalities. And I mean, you look at the three of us,
Hmm.
you, me, and Evan, and we're all very different. I mean, we're alike in there are definitely some similarities, but we have our own interests, we have our own things, and I don't know where that comes from. I mean, because we all are born with the same DNA, but then again, we had the same parents, we had the same upbringing, but we all probably navigated to our different paths within, even growing up as kids. We all had our different interests, we all did our different things. We did a lot of stuff together, but and so that's the nurture part, which, we were nurtured by the same people, but I think you nurture yourself and the people you decide to hang out with, the activities you decide to jump onto, like when you started knocking over banks when you were 8. I mean, that wasn't my
I'm
path.
so good at that. I wish I drove a car. That would have made it a lot easier.
It would have, like, your getaways. I mean, you were terrible because you were not fast either.
I was on a big wheel. What was I supposed to do?
Yeah, I know. It's but that was your choice. And that wasn't my choice. That wasn't Evan's choice, but you came by that honestly, and that was nurture.
I've turned
Like, you
myself around.
probably
That's the good news. I'm a good
yeah,
law-abiding
you
citizen
did.
now.
But looking at that raising a child, like, Sari had his own idiosyncrasies and or not, or just
Characteristics. Yeah.
innate characteristics he was born with, and then just developed over time too. And I try to steer a lot of things away, like, hey, you should like my football team and my baseball team.
Right. Right.
I mean, that's a non-negotiable. Like, you
Good
want food,
commanders.
you
Yeah.
want shelter, yeah.
Was Sari ever into watching sports at all?
Yeah, you know what? At first, no, not that much
I
interest, but
remember, like,
I
as a
think
baby, she had, like, a whole Redskins outfit, I recall.
and Orioles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Orioles.
Yeah, I don't know if it was before or after. It was maybe when Emily started getting sick, Sari started like bonding more with me and like wanting to watch the games. Not so much because she enjoyed them at first, but because spending time with me and taking interest in one of my big interests.
Right. I was just thinking about that in terms of parenting, like how we were parented and how much of that showed up in how you parented, and then what did you notice it? Were you trying to emulate? Were you trying to not be like? What was your experience around that?
I mean, I think a lot of how we were parented wears off on you, or just is embedded into us. I mean, I guess I thought of the good things and tried to emulate those.
Like
Trying to
what?
think of what those are right now, but
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, try to take the good and focus on that. But also, I mean, I read books on parenting and being a dad, and because the kids don't come out with the instruction manual. Um,
the Dad Manual podcast.
yeah, exactly. People write about their experiences or something like you're doing right now with the dad manual, trying to give some sort of knowledge from people who've gone through it.
Yeah. Anything you recall from the readings and the research that you did? Anything you tried?
Let me think. I'll think about that. But I also went as I discussed we do. I just go by gut, and I go by what I'm feeling and what I think would be right, and a combination of providing love and support, but also discipline as well. And I mean, I tried not to be as disciplined as we were.
Yeah,
A
right.
little more free and open for Sarah to explore.
Yeah, how did you approach discipline? That's also something interesting because I think we all do it differently, and I'm curious, like, when you think because kids have to learn,
Yeah,
and I think there's multiple ways to do that in order to steer them in the right direction, and part of the nurture opportunity we have is to help them go on a path that's really supportive for them in their future. So when Sari was off course, when Sari was doing things you needed to correct, what was your approach? Like what were like you were proud of like how it went? What was like some of the stuff that you're like, ugh, kind of not proud of that moment?
well, I never hit Sari, never spanked. We got spanked.
Breaking generational trauma.
Yeah.
Well done.
So never spanked, and Emily and I both agreed on that. And Sari's really a good kid. Like there was not a lot of discipline that needed to happen. I mean, if it was something like when Sari was little and said something to somebody that was not nice, or there was correction there, but it was more, hey, talking to like a human being, talking to like this is not acceptable. You can't do this. Like, and here's the reasons why. Think about if someone said this to you, how would that make you feel?
Even like you taking a like measured approach and just being logical, not like we got yelled at a lot. Right? There's a lot of like kind of it came across like anger. And so what you're saying is you really try to just go downplay it, logical, point out the boundary, point out what's wrong about it.
Yeah, and didn't break down or anything, but definitely felt bad and understood that. Sarah's very empathetic.
She's just a very smart
Yeah,
kid.
exactly. And then, I mean, there were times I yelled. Um,
Yeah.
I can't remember about that. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's something I probably regret. You know, yelling, losing my cool over something, which is something that we have generationally.
Hmm.
I have that from our dad and from his dad, pops, our dad's dad, who used to punch us in the arm and go, "That's for nothing. Just wait till you do something." Be like, "That's
That's for
crazy."
nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's for nothing. Just wait till you do
That's
something.
normal.
I'm like,
That's fucking
yeah.
normal.
At a time when I was little, I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's I get it," but little. So,
Little precursor there, like, give me a
yeah,
reason, yeah.
yeah. There were times where I actually would scream at Sari because, and this is after Emily died. The therapist just because Sari like put up this wall and just wouldn't cry for the longest time, or wouldn't like so like, and you could see it was just building up, and she was really affected by it. Obviously, losing your mom at age 10. So like every like 3 to 4 weeks, I would like kind of blow up at her to kind of like scare her because the therapist recommended this.
Oh, wow.
It would She would just start bawling her eyes out, and it would
Whoa.
just cry, and then I'd hold her, and then she would be
Whoa.
fine. It would be like this huge release.
Release.
um I don't
Mhm.
know if that's the way to do things. I don't know if I
Yeah,
regret that, but that's
yeah.
the only way I knew of, or I was told how to do, to get her to cry, to release all that. And it was always better for like a couple weeks after that. It's really
Ooh,
strange.
That's a tough thing to go through.
Yeah, and I'm sure, like, that probably scared the hell out of Sari.
Well, I think that was the point, right? That's what you're being
Yeah,
instructed
that
to
was the
do.
point, but probably also caused some trauma, I'm guessing. Already
Mhm.
going through trauma, but here's some more trauma to ease your other trauma.
Right,
Smart?
right.
I don't know.
It's like setting a fire to stop the other fire or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Controlled burn is what it
Controlled
was.
burn. Yeah. It's funny because I remember, I definitely yelled at the kids and I caught myself yelling at the kids and then caught myself like remembering what it was like to get yelled at when I was a kid. And it's like, those are painful moments. And then you're kind of like invested in it. So you kind of got to finish. And then I just feel like shit afterward and
Yeah.
definitely got me to stop yelling. Have you ever, given that Sari's an adult, Sari's almost 30, have you ever had a conversation with him about any of that? Like you yelling at him or how he was treated at any point? Have you ever had a conversation with Sari about it?
I don't think I have. I might have. I don't
Yeah, it
know.
might be interesting to find out. I mean, the fact that you have such an adult, like Sari's not a kid. Sari's 30 years old. Like to have I really think about like these real conversations to have with adult kids and just to get some feedback on like you know I might be because I feel like I might be overestimating some of the damage I did or maybe underestimating too and
Right.
not knowing which. And I just think it's a good opportunity to like okay clean it up, like I was doing my best but I really apologize for that. So yeah, I'd be interested to hear about that. So you for a great portion of Sari's life have been a single dad in one way or
Mhm.
another. I mean, even when Emily's alive, there was a lot you were doing that was much more like a single dad than a co-parenting situation. How do you feel like being a dad has changed you, or how have you changed your approach to being a dad through everything that you guys went through?
Again, I just did what I needed to do. I filled in where I needed to fill in, and I stepped up where I needed to step up. And I did read books on, being a widower and being a single dad, and after a parent dies, what do you do? And right after Emily died, I told Sarah, I said, it's okay, it's you and me against the world. Like, we got this. We're gonna be fine. We're gonna do this. We're gonna be strong. And I just focused on Sari for a long time. I didn't put my job aside, but my focus was less on climbing that corporate ladder. Climbing a ladder. Yeah, serious
maybe
telling you
maybe
about
turn
climbing
the
a
phone
ladder.
off.
Yeah, climbing a ladder requires a ladder, I'm guessing, and rungs, many rungs.
Many
Uh,
runs.
but I weird word. But I kind of pushed that aside. Like I was like on a path towards growth in the industry, and but I was at like
Yeah,
a
I mean,
vice
let's
president.
just say like you've had a cool job. You've worked in the music industry for 30 years or more, something like that.
34. Yeah.
So you had this job where you did do a lot of traveling. You do promotion, radio gigs, concerts. You're supporting artists, so that you did that with as a single parent.
Yeah, I did. So that's where you rely upon community and the it takes a village thing, which is absolutely true.
Was that easy for you to do to ask for help?
No,
Yeah.
you know that. You already knew the answer. It's not easy for me to ask for help. It's easier for me to offer help than to ask
Right.
for help.
Right. But you
Um,
but you needed to. Like what was
but
that
I
like?
needed to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at that point, it was just like, okay, I just can't do this without other people because I've always been kind of independent. And I mean, I had the room at the end of the hall.
Mhm.
I'd be by myself. I'd go to practice after, would come have dinner, and then I'd go back and do homework and just listen to music or whatever, and did not interact. So I'm
A
I'm very
solo.
comfortable
Yeah.
as a lone wolf, as a solo
Yeah.
artist, yeah. But asking for help, I needed to, and it was from family, it was from friends, Sari's friends' parents who were invaluable in stepping up and stepping in and helping with that. I mean, I hired a nanny because they had to be there because I would leave the house at like 6 in the morning, so they had to be there by then. And I would make Sari lunch and always put a little note in the lunch.
What were the notes?
Oh, I don't know. Have a great day. Something
Yeah.
wildly creative like that.
Still though, I bet Sarah really appreciated like those notes. That actually, I feel like that's a good connection where I'm imagining Sarah's eating lunch and going like, oh, like right, dad loves me.
Yeah, hopefully. And then I would be around to try to make breakfast for Sarah every day too. But yeah, I would travel. So if I was on the road, I have to plan. Like I have to go travel. And it was always like, I'm just going to go. I'm going to go 3 to 4 days, go out, see a bunch of radio stations, go on tour with whatever artist, and then I'll be back. But now I'm like, oh, well, now I have to plan for that around that. And so I did. So that made it more difficult, but you do what you have to do. And luckily, there were a lot of great people that stepped in. And
Yeah. How much? Because Sari's a big Anglophile, and Sari loves the Beatles. How much of that, what you think, came from you being in the music business?
I don't know. I've thought about that because that's one of the things I'm really proud of. That Sari is such a huge, huge passion for music.
Yeah.
Plays guitar a little bit, but not much of a player. More just fascinated with music, like I was when I was a kid. Like
Yeah.
I found a band. I wanted to know everything about them. I read everything about them. I saw every photo. I knew who took the photographs. I literally wanted to know everything about that band. Sari is the same way. Sari's the same with the Beatles. By the time Sari was 11, Sari knew every Beatles album, knew every song, knew who wrote it, who knew who was singing on it, knew
The
who.
dynamics between them.
Oh
Okay,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
found this on the web. There's the Beatles. By the time Sari was 11, Siri knew. Check it out.
I'm gonna check it out.
Can you
I wish
stop
I
it
could turn
off?
it off. I don't know how to turn. I'm
Okay.
gonna try. So yeah, it was. Sari could look at a photograph and knew what year it was taken, knew the name of the photographer. Like it was like obsessive.
And
But
that's all like right. That was right about the time Emily died. Is that?
yeah,
Do you think that there's a connection to that?
yeah, I think so. I was really proud that Sari did put all of the passion into music,
Uh-huh.
learning about music, and school. Focused
Mhm.
on those two things, like the fascination with the Beatles at the time and like trying to get straight A's. And that didn't come from me. I wasn't like, you have to excel in life.
Right.
Sari put that on himself.
And then what was that like for you? Like, were you in favor of it, seeing it was like a good coping strategy, or were you trying to get Sari to be more balanced? I don't remember because Sari worked, like studied all the time and absolute commitment to be straight A's,
Hmm.
valedictorian, like, on it. What was that like for you? Were you like, hey, keep it up? Or you're like, hey, just relax, have fun? What was your approach?
It was both. Like, I mean, I was really proud that Sari was that focused on school and that interested in it. I love the fact that Sari loved music so much and
Yeah.
was that into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like, have fun too. Go out with your friends. And, I have too much to do. I got to do this. And I was trying, and Sari was very introverted too. And Sari hated the fact that was the girl with a dead mom, you know?
Right.
And that's how everybody knew and had terrible anxiety about that and was embarrassed by it. Yeah, stayed in the room a lot, listening to music, playing guitar, and studying.
Yeah. It sounds a lot like
So
your dad,
yeah,
except for the studying part.
yeah, yeah. Except for the studying part,
Yeah.
I studied, just not like
You
that.
most, but you no, not like I've never seen anybody.
Sarah got an almost perfect SAT score.
Oh,
So
I didn't know that.
yeah,
Like a
like
perfect SAT score
obsessed.
almost?
Yeah, it was out of 2,400 at the time, and S got I think it was like in the 22 something, and then wasn't happy with that, so took it again and got a 2350 out of 2,400, which is
Wow.
insane.
That is
Yeah.
insane. That's
So
insane.
yes, definitely focused on being the best
Mhm.
at all times, and that was not me driving Sarah to do that.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, was I proud? And Sarah was class valedictorian, and then got into Georgetown, and graduated with a degree in neurobiology, went to go get a
Right.
master's in the UK in neuropsychology, and then decided to become a screenwriter.
Well, it's sort of been interesting. I think about that, when Saries started to transition. I was wondering, is that timing? Was it the Sari acknowledging that he was a trans man, at the same
Mhm.
time, like switching his interest in what he wanted to do from medical to entertainment? Was there a correlation there, do you think? I'm just curious.
Mm, no, I don't think so. The
Okay.
the screenwriter thing came first.
Okay.
The entertainment came first. And Sari wanted
Yeah.
to avoid, really, since I was in entertainment, Sari wanted to not go in entertainment, was going to
Right.
go to the medical field, was going to be a
Yeah.
neurologist. But then, I don't know, nature versus nurture, maybe it just kind of like pulled back in because creative writing was my major.
Uh-huh.
And Sari's a writer now and a really good one.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
And a
has both
filmmaker.
sides of the brain going. But yeah, the trans came maybe a year later, year or two later, once was back out here in California and realized and had been going to therapy, which was good.
Mhm.
Um, and trying to just figure out why just didn't feel right, just didn't
Mhm.
feel comfortable in his own
Yeah.
skin. Sari always had like the crushes on celebrity crushes were always people like Robert Downey Jr., Harrison Ford, Hugh Laurie from House, Jeff Goldblum, kind of like older, sarcastic, funny guys. And Sari loved that and like loved these guys. And then realized that Sari didn't want to be with those guys. Sari wanted to be
Mm.
those guys.
Mm.
Because Sari never drank through high school or college, and um, wasn't until like early on, before transitioned, but before she realized that she was a trans man. Um, the first drink started drinking was whiskey neat, like
Right in the deep end. Oh my god.
yeah, yeah, not the little foo foo drinks, not the the Girl Scout
That
cookie or
was
the
Barry's
somebody.
first drink.
Yeah, I mean, Sari probably tasted something somewhere along the way, but never had like started drinking Johnny Black. Neat.
Scotch.
Like because Saul, one of the people that he was like into drinking
Yeah.
that.
Nice.
And like,
That's
oh, that's my
interesting.
drink.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious, if you wanna talk about, yeah, what was that like for you?
Well, Sari had asked me out to lunch and I already knew Sari was bisexual. Had a girlfriend for a while, had a boyfriend, nothing lasting, and like through college really never had a real has a really close friend that Sari's still roommates with, that they're just like best friends,
Mhm.
nothing of a
Mhm.
sexual nature there.
Mhm.
They're just, they just love each other and just hanging
Mhm.
and
Right.
living together. Yeah, Sari asked me out to lunch and just told me, just said, hey, realize I'm a trans man, and told me the things I just told you. And I was just like, what? Because I was like,
But,
okay,
like, that never crossed your mind? Like, wasn't like
no,
that wasn't a thought up
no,
until that
because
point. Okay.
yeah, because in my mind, I'm like, okay, Sari's bisexual, could end up with a woman, could end up with a man, could have a baby or not. Like, am I going to have a grandchild at some point? Either way was fine. But then trans man, I was just like, I know gay. Like, I have so many friends throughout time who are gay. I have married gay friends, both male and female. So I do understand that. It was the trans thing that I'm not that versed on or acclimated to, because
Mhm.
I just don't really know a lot of trans people. A couple of
Right.
Sari's friends growing up, trans, and had already transitioned. And then some were theys and thems. And I, got that nomenclature and figured that out. But the trans was just, to me, that my daughter was my son now. And Sari
Mhm.
said, "Well, Dad, you've always wanted a boy. Hey." I'm like, "Oh, funny." So I tried to, yeah. So that was tough to process.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Well, why do you have to change who you are? Can't you just be Sari? And can't you just be
Mhm.
you?" Like,
Right.
in my mind, like, Katie Lang, Melissa Etheridge, Ellen DeGeneres, Brandy Carlisle, like, be male like, but just be you. Like, just be,
Mhm.
and like top surgery and
That was a big deal for you.
yeah. And then
But for Sari, it
testosterone.
wasn't. Like, Sari was couldn't get
Yeah.
it done fast enough.
Yeah. It's true. Just knew that that's what he wanted and
Mhm.
that's who he wanted to be, or that's who he was.
Yeah.
And the reason wanted to do that because Sarah would be at a table with a bunch of girls and Sarah there, and they'd be like, "Ladies, what can I get?" And that would just be like, I didn't blame the waitress or whatever, but it was like, I want my outside to reflect who my inside is,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
that was the reason for it. And I
Yeah.
understand that.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Um, so
But I'm sure there was a part of you that was like, "This is a phase," or "This will pass," or something like that. Because, you had a daughter for 24 years? How I don't remember how old Sari was when this happened, but
yeah,
so,
25,
that's a
26.
long time to have a daughter, and
Mm-hmm.
then for you to go, "I have to change my entire perspective on who you are as a person," from a gender perspective. Obviously,
Yeah.
Sari's still Sari, and, what you said earlier, I've also never seen Sari so happy, so comfortable in his own
Mm-hmm.
skin,
Yeah.
um, which is, something I hadn't seen since, I would say, Sari was, like, 8. Sari was a very, very happy kid. I mean, as her uncle, she was my first niece. And yeah, I loved her spirit, and she was so joyful. And then definitely she went somewhere for many years, but to come out on the other side, like, I think I figured it out. Not what you thought was going to happen, or not on your game plan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Not on my
So
bingo
there's a
card.
lot of adjustment for you just to be able to get through it. Even, I'm sure seeing how much freer Sari feels is probably made it is the thing that made it work for you, or for you to, like, get clear about it.
Yeah, it's true. It did. Just Sari, like you said, Sari has not been this happy since before Emily died. And it's great to see. And just excelling at work, doing really
Mhm.
well. The first screenplay or first TV show that Sari was actually given a write himself
Yeah,
was nominated for an award for Warner Brothers,
it's
which
amazing.
was
Yeah.
one of the animation awards. So that was great. So, and they love him on the cast. That always has the most creative ideas and really great thoughts about how to, move a story along or change it. And the dialogue is great. Probably from studying neurology, knowing how the brain works, knowing how humans interact. So yeah, Sari's dialogue is like amazing. Um, but yeah, it was for me. It was difficult, and it was a tough transition because, like you said, I raised a daughter for 26 years, and that's what I knew. So in a sense, Sari switching or becoming a trans man and going through that process, it's Sari's still Sari, and Sari would say, like, "Dad, I'm still me," which
Yeah.
is true. But in a sense, you're grieving the daughter that is no longer there. Because like I said, I was at the start of this, I was a girl dad. I was excited about that. I was happy about that. And now I have a son and I
Mhm.
don't have a daughter. So that daughter's gone now. It's still Sari, but there is a psychological element there that is, I'm grieving the loss of the daughter.
You had to grieve the loss of a wife, and now the
Yeah.
loss of a daughter. That's a lot of heaviness.
Yeah. But thankfully, Sari's still here and Sari's male now. Um, and I'm very happy about that because, mental health when you're going through all these things, like it's a real deal. Like, I mean, it's a big thing for children to have therapy or have someone to talk to about what they're going through, because that's got to be heavy for Sari, right? Like to,
Absolutely.
I mean, not only lose your mom at such an early age and then try to go through all of that and stay focused on school and work and then but just still not feel like you, or still not feel whole.
Right.
And Sari now does. So Sari's happy. That makes me happy. But, it's still a crazy transition in my brain to try to understand. And Sari understands that.
Yeah.
Like and for all of us, like to call Sari him instead of her, like, because been doing it for quarter century.
Right.
Um,
I have a
I'm
nephew
getting there.
now that I didn't have before.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So, yeah, so that whole process has been, interesting for me as well, trying to
Mhm.
figure out.
Right.
And
Yeah, being a dad to that, like you're still like,
mhm,
okay, I have to now reprogram myself in some way
mhm,
as a different father now.
yeah, yep.
Like what do you think's different in your fathering now that Sari is a man? Do you relate to Sari any differently? Do you interact any differently?
I don't know. I don't know if I do.
Hmm.
I mean, when I used to see articles on female empowerment and stuff, and
Hmm.
things along those lines, or like this really inspiring woman here that you need to check out. Like now, I'm like, oh wait, if I said that this, it's not as applicable. Something like that. Like yesterday, I
Yeah.
thought about that, and I was like, oh wait, I that's not a thing anymore. I mean, it still
Right.
is. You can still learn about that, but Sari's not a female anymore. So
Right.
where does that hit? And I guess I should ask that when Sari comes over to watch the game today.
Uh huh.
Yeah. So yeah, so I invited Sari to watch the game today. So I guess that's a different thing.
Right.
But
Right. Back, but
yeah.
that's so sweet because that's back to like when Emily was sick.
Hmm.
You guys would do that together, so it's
Right.
beautiful. So what I'm curious about things like principles or values that you really look to instill in Siri, or like rituals that you created, that were just kind of for the two of you. Does anything come to mind that you want to share?
Well, things I wanted to instill in Sari were, not sound cliche, but kindness,
Mm-hmm.
understanding of other people, and empathy, and what they're going through, and to try to think about that and try to be nice to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But also things to look out for. And so I put Sari into karate early on, and Sari got a black belt. So I
Mm-hmm.
wanted Sari to be able to defend herself
Mm-hmm.
and now himself. Work ethic, strong work ethic, which definitely has, like to an extreme point, but also like Sari's really great with friends and like very thoughtful, very kind, and um, a really good gift giver. Like
Yeah.
knows people and knows how to like, not a normal thing, but like we'll get something. They're like, oh wow, I didn't even know I needed that or wanted that.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
So
That's
that's a good thing.
sweet.
I don't know if Sari got that from me because I'm not very
Right.
good at that.
No.
No, you're not.
What do you hope that Sari remembers about you as a dad, or thinks about you as a dad?
Hopefully that I was there to support him,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that I was a safe area and strong in that respect, that I somehow inspired him
Mm-hmm.
to be better at whatever
Yeah.
he's doing. And hopefully that I loved him.
What hopes do you have for Sari now in his life?
That Sari finds true love, which I think he has, and that he has a really happy life and is healthy, and is accepting an Emmy on stage for a
Mhm.
show that he wrote and was a showrunner of.
Wow. I can't wait
Yeah.
for that day.
Yeah. And maybe a child.
Yeah. Um, Danny, this has been awesome. I really appreciate you and your openness and sharing everything. I wanna finish with so this podcast really is intended for people who are beginning their fathering journey. And then once you begin that journey, you have no idea where it's going to go, right?
Yeah.
You're a real example of that. Um, but if you were giving advice to a brand new father,
hmm
brand new, what would you tell that person?
I would say number one, be present from the birth to helping your spouse, if you have a spouse, with every aspect of raising that child. I mean, especially when it's a baby, feeding and diapering and just getting hands on and holding the child and making it feel safe. I would focus on spending time with the child
Mm-hmm.
and giving it, knowing that you are there for it
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
for the child.
Yes.
Um, and and instilling them with all the good that's in you and everything that you and your spouse, the great things that you love about them, they love about you, instilling that in your child and being there for them and weighing out, like, do I need to, you know, do this work thing? Is this absolutely necessary if it's really important to be there for them? And weighing
Yeah.
out and hopefully choosing the child over work. And that won't happen every time because didn't with me.
Yeah.
I try to be there as much as possible, but some people have to travel for work
Right.
or attend events or whatever. But I would also provide a positive atmosphere for the child with your spouse. Like, show them love through your love of one another, if that's applicable. But mostly show them love and support, safety, that they know that you will be there for them, but also teach them self dependence at the same
Mhm.
time.
Parenting's not so easy.
It's not. It's not. There's a lot of things, but hopefully at the end you come out with a amazing human being who's good for this planet, who's good for this universe, who
Yeah.
helps other people and inspires other people. Then
Yeah.
you've done the right thing.
Danny, thank you so much. Love
Thank
you.
you. Love you too.
Bet. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Dad Manual Podcast. If you liked it, please leave us a rating or subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you really liked it, please share it with a dad you love. I'm looking to grow a community of fathers who are ready to change the world, and I need your help to do that. And if you got questions or topics you want me to explore, email them to me at thedadmanual@gmail.com. I would love to answer your questions on our next episode. Until next time, I'm Tony Cooper, and this is the Dad Manual Podcast.